Now, more than 2/3 of U.S. states have now relaxed their lockdown measures in some manner. The nation's capital, however, remains in lockdown. This week, the city's mayor extended stay-at-home measures to June 8th, even as lawmakers try to decide how to deal with the national crisis. The BBC's Barbara Plett-Usher has more.
In the nation's capital, political pressure to open up the country is mounting. Lawmakers are gradually coming back to work. But the city isn't ready yet for business. You just need to drive 10 minutes to see it's still on emergency footing. In D.C.'s black neighborhoods, the virus has laid bare long-standing social and racial divides.
Yeah, I know we're going through some trying times in our nation and our community, but I'm going to say God is good.
Anacostia local councillor Trayon White is campaigning for re-election in Washington's poorest ward.
We have the #1 deaths as relates to COVID-19 virus.
Handing out masks, bleach, toilet paper.
He's already cool.
Behind the smiles is a disturbing reality. 80% of the city's COVID deaths are African Americans, even though they're less than half its population. Trayon himself has lost his grandmother to the virus.
We have some of the highest health disparities per capita in the country in this community, from high blood pressure to diabetes to asthma, you name it, we have it. So we're fighting two monsters at the same time. And so you're talking about the people that are already at the bottom getting pushed down even further.
The city has boosted outreach and testing for predominantly black and Latino communities.
If you want a good example of how D.C. isn't over the corona crisis, this is a good one. Just this week, the city finished putting up a makeshift hospital here in the convention center. Okay, it's a precaution, but the number of cases had been rising and were only expected to peak around now.
The field hospital was launched with a flourish, but the mayor's cautious approach to reopening means she's heading for a collision with the capital region's largest employer, the federal government. And especially with her city's most famous resident, who's agitating for a return to normal. Around the corner is the new normal, a venerable Washington institution serving its own servers.
You're welcome.
The Ebbett Grill is the oldest operating restaurant in D.C., a favorite watering hole for politicians, now echoing with emptiness. It's still able to give laid-off employees meals. This can't go on for long, but the grill is wary about reopening.
Just because the politicians or the government tells you can open, doesn't mean you have to open that day. I think we're going to do what's right by our guests, right by our employees, and right by us, right by our integrity. I don't think anyone of us want to open the doors simply to make an extra dollar on day one that could set us back or set our guests back.
When it comes to the road ahead, Washington, the capital, is out of step with Washington, the city, playing out a debate that's being held across the country. Barbara Plett-Usher, BBC News, Washington.